2021 marks the 100th year of the Panhandle-Plains Historical Society. The role of the Panhandle-Plains Historical Museum remains the same as it was in 1921. Visionary founder Hattie Anderson once said, "It is the sacred duty of ours to collect the record of life here and hand this on to the children of the future. And we believe in the future our people will point with pride to their museum and the Historical Society." That pride is felt through PPHM's members, Board of Trustees, visitors, school children, and throughout the Panhandle community.
The museum, to me, it means everything.
I love the Panhandle-Plains Historical Museum, and I have been fascinated by it ever since I arrived here as a child.
Soon, Panhandle-Plains Historical Society will be 100 years old, and thanks to Hattie Anderson and folks like that had the foresight to collect and archive things from our area, we have a rich history that we can all look at and rely on.
People need to know time and place, where they come from, what they're about. And I think it's big value to the community for people to look back and say, these are who our predecessors were. These were the things that were important to them.
I think the museum is a place where we can share our experiences. Some of my favorite times are walking through the galleries and seeing a family with grandparents and multi-generational parents and kiddos, and the grandparents are pointing out things in our collection, telling the kids how it used to be, telling personal anecdotes. So I think it's a place where we share our history and share our stories.
I think it's our history, but it's more than our history. It's who we are. It tells our story, and I think with the things that we're doing to provide a service to future generations, it's going to continue to do that. That's our job, is to grow and morph into what our community needs us to be and who they are.
The museum truly is a treasure here in the Panhandle of Texas. It is just a hallmark for our schools, our school children to come in and learn and be educated. But it also is a foundation for our culture here. And for those of us that really treasure our heritage, it really gives us a look back to the heritage that we have here in the Panhandle of Texas.
To our community, I feel like the museum is that place of cultural foundations, and it's something that's embraced about, if we're built on the foundations that were laid before us, then this museum represents in so many different facets what that foundation is.
The museum, to me, is an important community resource. It's a place where people come to learn new things about old places, create new memories and experiences for themselves, and perhaps contribute to the preservation of our shared past.
The museum, I think, shows a pride of place, and I think when people have that, the community is richer, that kind of civic pride, and the museum is a kind of anchor for that. But I also think that it builds a really good bridge between the campus and the community at large. I think it invites people beyond the campus to come to the campus and to see what's going on, and vice versa. It brings the students and the faculty in. So, a little bit of that bridge building from campus to community.
Future generations need to invest in this museum because this museum is the lifeblood of the Panhandle. Sharing and collecting our history and our heritage is such an important part of who we are, and making that accessible to everyone needs to be everyone's mission.
The museum is important because it catalogs a great deal of the history of the Texas Panhandle, which is especially important to me because as the president of WT, the Panhandles is what gives us our identity and our distinctiveness.
My favorite memory here is as a fourth grader, I was selected to be part of a program that came for summer camp here at WT. So we drove every day on a yellow bus from Spearman, and we had downtime every day while we were on campus at WT. And I came every day to see Pioneer Town, and I just put my face up to the window and just spent all kinds of time looking through there, all the individual little instruments in the doctor's office and the bank. And I just thought it was fascinating to see all of those old things, but they were real things of people who lived here before us.
I did elephant toothpaste at summer camp, and I get to touch reptiles and stuff.
Well, it means a place to go when we have company from out of town, and a place to go to take our grandchildren, always.
I am just very grateful that we have this little jewel in the Panhandle, and for those who have never visited the museum, you need to come and bring your kid.
The museum to me is just a fun place that I can go to hang out with friends or just have a good time while also learning about the Texas Panhandle.
We should continue to love our museum because people don't realize when they send us their check, a cheer goes up every time we receive a membership. Every name on the membership list is important to Panhandle-Plains Historical Museum.
I mean, maybe come see Georgia. We do have a Georgia O'Keeffe piece here, which is super exciting. She taught at WT in the 1910s, and to have one of her pieces that's also of the Paladera Canyon just cannot be, replaced. It's a gem, so come see that.
I'm grateful for the pioneers who started the society 100 years ago. They were probably thinking about a past that for them was much more recent. It would have been like us thinking about collecting items from the 1980s or something. So I don't know that they had the foresight to think 100 years into the future, but I'm so grateful that they did what they did, because the collection that we have, the stories we have, the things that teach us are because of the vision that they had 100 years ago.
My favorite memory was going to the summer camp at the PPHS and touching snakes.
This area has an important story to tell, and no one will tell that story if we don't tell that story. And so we've lived it, and we're living it now, and we want to cast a vision for it going forward. And this is the place where that all happens, and this is the place where we can record where we've been, where we are, and hopefully where we're going.
From 100 years ago, when Hattie Anderson and her colleagues started the society to collect stories and preserve that heritage of this area, that is still what we are doing. And I think on top of all the 3 million plus artifacts that we have that are all incredible in their own right, they gain power because of the stories.
By the way, it's not just for the Panhandle, but it's for the whole state of Texas, because the Panhandle has had and continues to have a profound impact on the state of Texas. So the museum is important, not just to us in the Panhandle and at WT, but it's important to people in the lower Rio Grande Valley and deepest reaches of far west Texas, in East Texas, in Central Texas. The museum is important everywhere in Texas. In some ways, the museum is Texas.
That's what this museum means to me. It's an identity for the Panhandle. It's our place to share our collective memories and to really bond as a community.
For those that founded this society, I would say thank you so much for the vision, the intention, the depth of being able to create a Panhandle-Plains Historical Museum that is for several hundred miles in any direction the most coveted area of our cultural heritage that so many people value and want to come and see.
It's been an honor to carry the torch for the time that we've been able to carry it, and I would like to think that Hattie Anderson and all of those who 100 years ago gave so much to the formation of the society would be thrilled to know that it still is thriving.
Well, it's probably the best educational research facility in the, well, not in the Panhandle, but in the state. It really is. It's so good for the young kids to come in and see things and learn about their heritage and their history. So it's
very, very significant to me in that regard.
You know, without Panhandle-Plains Museum, our history would just be a suggestion. It would just be hearsay. But with PPHM, when all the artifacts that we have a very hands-on way to understand where we came from.
Being here as an intern has been a really amazing experience, and I really love that this museum has so many opportunities for emerging professionals and other people looking for internships, educational opportunities, and it doesn't matter what field you're in because the museum has a little bit of everything in it, so no matter what you're doing, you can find some place for yourself here at PPHM.
Thank you to the people of the society who had the vision to invest in the idea of the Panhandle-Plains Historic Museum. We're the beneficiaries of it today, and I want us to be the good stewards who build it even better for the people that are coming in our future.
I think for me, it's very much about heritage and about nostalgia. And you know, many of our visitors have artifacts from their families in this museum. I don't, but when I walk in, I feel very much connected with my past, and I think that's why it's so important that we tell those stories.
Future generations should invest in PPHM because this is how we actually continue to promote the understanding of our region's history, and the educational value for people of all ages and all races and backgrounds is absolutely second to none.
Oh, thank you. Milestones are so important. You can't have year 2 without year 1, and you can't have the second 100 years without the first 100 years. So we've done it. We've reached 100 years. I want to see another 100 years. The only way that was possible was through the vision, the dream, the emotion of those who were willing to invest. And now, are we? And I think we are.
Congratulations on 100 years to the Panhandle-Plains Historical Society. And here is to the next 100.